Ronnie Coleman, The Truth About Genetics, Steroids, and the Bodybuilding Myth. Ronnie Coleman is one of the most iconic figures in the history of bodybuilding, an 8-time Mr. Olympia winner whose massive physique and unbelievable strength made him a legend. But beyond the trophies and gym footage lies a surprisingly honest take on a topic most people in the sport avoid: steroids, genetics, and what really made Ronnie so dominant. The misconception about doing more. For years, fans, especially younger generations, assumed Ronnie must have been taking huge amounts of steroids or performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, to achieve his size and conditioning. But in a candid interview, Coleman pushed back on that idea. He said, "People think I was doing way more than I was doing. I was doing the same thing everyone else was doing." His point was simple. Just because he built an incredible physique doesn't mean he was doing something dramatically beyond what his competitors were doing at the time. In other words, the stereotype that he was on a ton of drugs while others weren't is inaccurate. Steroids in bodybuilding, not a shortcut, just a tool. Coleman openly admitted that steroids and hormones were part of professional bodybuilding, but he emphasized that they weren't magic. He didn't start using steroids until around age 30. Nearly 6 years into his bodybuilding career. Before that, he competed drug-free and still placed highly. When he did start taking them, he only used basic compounds and didn't do anything extreme. The steroids mainly helped him refine his conditioning, how dry, lean, and defined his muscles looked, rather than dramatically boosting strength or muscle size. This fits with what he said about how much steroids contributed. They help, but the limits are still defined by biology and training. Genetics, the real heart of his message. Perhaps the most important part of Ronnie's perspective was his belief in genetics. In the same conversation, he said, "There's only so much you can do, and there's always going to be a limit to how effective something is, no matter how much you're taking. It all goes back to genetics, too. You've got to be genetically gifted to do certain things." He compared this to athletes in other sports, for example, baseball players who might have used performance enhancers but still don't look like massive bodybuilders. The implication was that steroids don't turn average people into superhumans. Your genetic potential still matters most. This focus on genetics wasn't just talk. Coleman acknowledged that his ability to squat huge weights naturally, reportedly squatting 750 to 800 pounds on his own, and maintain extreme muscle mass even when off drugs for months pointed to natural genetic advantages. What this means for fans and athletes. There are a few key takeaways from Coleman's perspective that are worth highlighting. Steroids exist in many sports, but they are not everything. They are tools, like diet and training, and only go so far without genetics and hard work. A monstrous physique like Ronnie's was not just the result of drugs. When tested and compared to athletes from other sports, even those who used strength-boosting substances didn't reach that kind of size. Hard work still matters most. Coleman was famous for his heavy, brutal workouts that pushed his limits day after day. Genetics set the ceiling. Even with perfect training, nutrition, discipline, and substances, there's a biological limit to what most people can achieve. And people like Ronnie were simply on a different level. Why Coleman's comments matter. Ronnie Coleman didn't sugarcoat things or talk in hype. His candor helps demystify a part of bodybuilding culture that's often shrouded in secrecy or misinformation. Rather than portraying steroids as a secret weapon, he treated them as a known factor in the sport, one that only works within the boundaries of genetics and relentless training. In a world where social media fitness influencers can exaggerate their results or present unrealistic images, Coleman's honesty, even about controversial topics, is refreshing and important.